Now, the safety police will likely say that he should be having a sawhorse, which, okay.
Because what we've got to do is check for levelicity.
Levelicity, I like that.
Malleable. They're not the pressed steel kind from Japan or China or whatever like that, Malaysia. I'm not sure where these are from either, but I know that the best ones on the market.
They're also imported, so.
Today's video is brought to you by our good friends over at Nationwide Industries, the Fence Pros' #1 choice. And they are this Fence Pros' #1 choice for a couple reasons. One, we love using their Keystone Traverse latches. They're easy to install. You simply bolt them onto the post. No drilling for rods or cutting the rods required. It's a pretty straightforward installation process. We also love using their full line of galvanized hardware. It shows up quickly and reliably.
All right, guys, today's video is titled How to Install a Chain Link Slide Gate System by Fix-A-Fence LLC. I'm excited to watch this. If you follow the channel, we've been looking at a lot of gates, but they have all pretty much been wood gates lately. So like that we're looking at the chain link slide gate systems. Now, like I said, this is from the Fix-A-Fence LLC channel. If you'd like to watch the video in its entirety without my commentary, we'll have it linked in the description below.
I just thought I'd come to you today and give you a couple of finer points on, oops, excuse me, sorry about that. Give you a couple of finer points on some of the tools we use to put a slide gate in. I know I've been, all that, this other slide gate video I did, getting a lot of views, and anyway, so thank you guys for watching. If you subscribe to the channel, but here we go. You're gonna need a 15/16.
Curious to see where the 15/16 comes in. 3/4, typically what you use. 15/16. So let's see where. Why don't you write in the comments below what you think the 15/16 is going towards.
You're going to need a 3/4 inch ratchet. Okay. Pretty much that's it right there for the tools. Maybe a hammer. These are what's called track brackets. We went over that before in the first video. These are the track brackets, and we'll be putting the track on here. For the slide gate, and that slide gate's up on that truck over there. Here's the wheels. This is the front carriage.
So it's a good looking ground wheel. It's a solid wheel, which is typically a good choice. They also have pneumatic ground rollers, which are okay, but you typically have to keep them maintained. You got to keep air in them, and that's typically what we see doesn't happen. They run them out of air, and then they'll run them flat for a while, and then they'll ruin them, and then we'll come in and replace them with some solid tires. So good to see he's starting off the project with solid tires.
Here are the rear wheels. Remember I told you about malleable wheels, okay? Why? Because it's got the Zerk fitting on there, and you're able to put the yeah, there's a Zerk fitting. Yeah, you're able to put the grease in there.
Those are definitely the good ones. We've used those. We've used the pressed steel. These with the grease fitting, the Zerk fittings, the malleable wheels are definitely the good ones. So the bracket he's got has 2 U-bolts on it. I've seen them with that. The ones we use typically has a collar that the bolt will go through, the bolt for the rear wheel will go through. I like those a little bit better. These fittings, for whatever reason, once they age, they want to rust right there at that weld that holds the bracket on. So typically you'll see the wheel break off of the bracket on larger gates. On a residential gate, probably not going to be a concern.
These are track brackets here, all right? And what we're going to do is we're going to unloosen the U-bolt here. Okay, now there's 2 different ways you can put these track brackets up. You can either have the gate slide off the track, or you can have them stop. And I'd like to have them stop.
That's a great point. One of the mistakes we see contractors make, at least in our area, is that they'll leave all of those up, and the gate will do just what he's describing, is the gate will run straight off of the track. It's as simple as flipping that bracket around, keeps that gate on the rails. So you would flip it over at the beginning, at the end, regardless of how many line posts are in the middle. You flip the beginning and the end, the first and the last bracket's over, and you're good to go.
We're going to measure these things here, Trout. Okay, so when you measure these things, right, you get it up here and you just kind of want to mimic it. So you're going to have it come over here and show them where you touch that at. Okay, touch that. There you go. Yeah, and then come on over here. And you kind of like look at it, all right, and mimic it about, okay, it's going to be straight. That's about straight. So I see 64 3/4 inch.
Now, typically what we would do on this, and he might be getting ready to show it, I guess, is take probably 1/8 off of that. You can see the sleeves or the smaller pipe portion of this is several inches long. Take an eighth off. That way they're sure to fit nicely on that. They're not too tight. And as these things freeze and thaw and expand and contract, they're not going to push that bracket around. An eighth of an inch isn't going to be noticeable from the customers, but it will keep your brackets exactly where they need to be and give you a little bit of wiggle room.
64 3/4 inch. I'm going to cut 2 of them at 64 3/4 inch.
So actually looking at that tape, I think that's exactly what he did just without talking about it. It looked like it was about 65. So by going 64 3/4 gives him room on either side. Now, the safety police will likely say that he should be having a sawhorse, which, okay, I will grant you that. But if we're talking about working out on the job site, is it as usable? I don't think so. We've shown cutting posts like this on the channel before, and that was typically the feedback was that, no personal protective equipment, so he's not wearing gloves while cutting it, and that it's not on a sawhorse. But it's a good depiction of, in the real world, how this stuff goes.
Get them on there, you tighten it up, just to give it a little, you snug it up, because what we've got to do is check for levelicity.
Levelicity, I like that. Now, one thing that the gentleman that's tightening is doing it without them saying is he's tightening them both evenly. So it's a U-bolt. If you tighten one side before you tighten the other, they won't tighten evenly. It could work, but it's better to tighten them equally, if that makes sense. I mean, that way it's an even tightness on both sides of that bracket.
Too much. No more. No more. Right.
Good?
Right there.
Okay, tighten that up. Okay. Okay, so that's basically how we put the rail up, okay? And we're going to duplicate that the rest of these 3 times here.
So one thing to note on this gentleman's fence build, so it looks like 2-inch line posts, which are nice. Sometimes you'd see 1.5-inch line posts on residential fence. Also steel loop caps. So a lot of times you'll see an aluminum loop cap up there. So just bravo on the fence job itself, using nice quality materials.
Once we stand, no. Just got to go through there. There you go. That's it.
What'd you tell him?
There you go. Go ahead.
Did you tell him it has to go between where?
Oh, it's got to go in between it wants to be on the frame itself. You got to be on the frame. You don't want to take this U-bolt over you don't want to take it over the chain link. It's got to go, on the frame itself, okay?
Typically, it's easier to put the hardware on, both on the gate and on the fence before the fabric goes on. Then you can lay the fabric over it. You know exactly where you need to tie it. You don't have to worry about the ties, coming in conflict with those U-bolts. Same thing with the putting the line brackets on. It's typically easier to get it up first, then put the hardware on first, and then put the fabric on.
Okay, see now it stays up by itself because we got the front wheel on. It's not going to roll back and forth. Now we can get our rear wheels, right? Like I said, these are the rear wheels, okay? Malleable. They're not the pressed steel kind from Japan or China or whatever like that, Malaysia. I'm not sure where these are from either, but I know they're the best ones on the market.
They're also imported, so I don't know that the fact that the pressed steel are imported from wherever they're imported, it plays much of a role in just that they're just not as high quality as the malleable. I'm sure someone domestically produces malleable wheels. I'm just saying the majority of them are the majority of them are also imported.
Now another thing is, when you go to they're going to have these tight. You're not going to get them off with your finger. And this is what you need the 15/16 for, okay? And I put the thing up against there so that way you can kind of hold on to it and loosen it up. Right, tight, left, loose. Okay, now that's loose. So the same thing on this one here. We're going to loosen this bad boy up too, okay? All right, so he's loose, okay? Loose as a goose. Now we come over here and we put our wheel on, okay? Now,
you can loosen it up or you can bend that finger either way. So the finger that holds the wheel on the rail so that the whole thing can't be picked up off the rail. So he loosens the bolt to give himself some room to slide the whole thing on.
Goes around, you put your foot up there like that, go ahead. somebody can hold it up, and you're probably going to want to hold it up to about where the chain link is here. See?
Yeah, that's a good note. Typically, we would line the top rail of the gate up with the top rail of the fence in the closed position.
Just a process. Once you get all the nuts and bolts on there and start tightening things up, you'll be able to see it kind of comes together really well. I like it. It's a really kind of an, you know, I'll tell you what gates are better I like are the cantilever gates. The cantilever gates are like with those nylon wheels, you just kind of push them, you know.
I agree. Cantilever gates are great. We love installing them. If you'd like to see how we install cantilever gates, we've got that video up here somewhere.
Okay, let's see if this slides. All right. So it shuts all the way, so that's good.
So that would probably bug me that the gate's not as tall as the fence it's latching into. The other fence looks like his fence that he had installed recently, so I don't know. You'd think we'd go consistent height across. Maybe there are extenuating circumstances that made that not possible, but typically it's the best look if everything's the same height all the way across.
Get our bands up here. We have our latching mechanism. Oh, what was that? Okay, we just got to tighten it up. But that slides really good, see? It's all the way, just like it's supposed to. Okay? Tighten everything up. So anyway, there you go. John at Fix-A-Fence showing you a little bit how to install a slide gate here in Portland, Oregon. You guys keep smiling and have a great day.
You guys, great video. I think you did a great job explaining exactly how it works. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Probably also go check out his channel. I think I'll watch a few more of his videos. Seems to be good at explaining exactly how it's done, and the materials he uses are decent quality and good quality material. So check out the channel, check out the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. For now, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll see you next time.